Welcome to UNAM Chicago's CAFÉ EXPRESSO, a space for bilateral conversations with people from all walks of life. Tune in to Spanish Public Radio and follow us on social media. And now your host, Alberto Foncerrada.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Café Expresso. My name is Alberto Foncerrada, and I am your host. Café Expresso is a program of UNAM Chicago in alliance with Spanish Public Radio. You can find us in UNAM Chicago's YouTube channel and social media platforms, as well as a podcast in Spotify. My guest this morning is Juan Díes, a very much loved public figure in Chicago and well-known nationally as well as internationally. He is the co-founder and executive director of Sones de Mexico Ensemble. Welcome, Juan.
Thank you, Alberto, for the invite.
No, we're very pleased to have you. A little bit about Sones de Mexico. Sones de Mexico Ensemble is the country's premier folk music organization specializing in Mexican son. The group was formed in Chicago's historic Pilsen neighborhood in 1994 to keep the tradition of Mexican son alive in its many regional forms. As performers and recording artists, the ensemble has developed and popularized many original arrangements of Mexican traditional tunes through touring the United States and internationally, including such prestigious venues as the Getty Museum in Los Angeles, Carnegie Hall in New York, the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. Sones de Mexico Ensemble has been the winner of multiple awards. I can go on and on and on. Anyway, I just wanted to welcome you, Juan, and why don't you tell us a little bit about how you have done it, 28 years together.
Yes, we're coming up on 28 years next April 9th to be precise, was the date of our first public performance, which happened in Pilsen in an art gallery that doesn't exist anymore. It was called the Taller Mexicano de Grabado. It's a print shop where some of the Chicago printmakers were exhibiting work related to the death of Emiliano Zapata on that exhibit. And a couple of the exhibitors, René Arceo and Héctor Duarte, invited us. They knew that we were beginning to form a group, that we were rehearsing, and they invited us to do a brief presentation on that day. And Carlos Cortez was also one of the exhibitors. Anyway, we played, I think, 3 songs, and immediately we got an incredible response. People, I don't think at that time there were any groups in Chicago performing Mexican son. We played some music from the Costa Chica, from Guerrero. We played Huapango, and we played, I think it was a son jarocho. And that impact just triggered immediate popularity. We did not have a name at that point. We had to come up with the name Sones de Mexico Ensemble very quickly. We didn't have business cards. I was working at the Old Town School of Folk Music, and I was new to Chicago. The Old Town School brought me from a graduate program that I was in at Indiana University in Bloomington, Indiana. And Victor Pichardo, who had recently landed in Chicago. He is an expert in Mexican son that brought many years of experience, professional experience in music. He had already been and recorded and toured internationally with the group Sacil, and had been a music director and came with ample experience in a type of music that it was unprecedented in Chicago. So we really had a niche all to ourselves. And my expertise was in arts administration, nonprofit presenting arts and ethnomusicology, anthropology, curatorial work. So we combined our efforts together with a couple other musicians, and we formed what became Sones de Mexico Ensemble. So yeah, our trajectory through the years, I think, there's so many anecdotes and stories about growth. But I was thinking about this interview this morning about what were the crucial forks in the road that we ran into, and the first of them was after about 2 years into forming this organization, we had to decide what type of organization we would become. And we could become a for-profit or a partnership, perhaps, organization. And there was also the route that where we could become a nonprofit organization. And I was somewhat familiar with that type of organization because I worked for one. I felt that the type of music we played was not commercial in the sense that we could expect to make lots of money from record sales and the type of work that a commercial outfit would generate, and that we could stand to do much better with subsidies and grants and special education opportunities, etc. So we chose the latter, and I think it was a good decision. Even though we were incorporated as a nonprofit, we didn't take advantage of that status for many years. We never applied for a grant or raised money from donations for many years. We continued to operate with earned income almost exclusively. And we put out 2 albums before we began to explore the area of raising funds. Another important milestone, I think, in administratively in Sones de Mexico was a meeting that I had with some volunteer members for the business community in the Small Business Association. We were trying to figure out how to run our organization, and they explored our offerings. They wanted to know what is your product? What do you offer? Can you define your product? And I just spewed out a bunch of stuff we did, because we basically took any opportunity. We were opportunists, really. It took any opportunity that would come up, and we had a can-do attitude, and we did all of them. So they encouraged us to separate them, to classify them into business units. And they said, you're doing concerts on one side. Then a lot of schools are asking you to do school assemblies and workshops and so forth. So why don't you call that your outreach, educational outreach, and focus on that product. And it looks like you've put out a couple of albums, and you're beginning to promote the group through media. And that's a different business. You have to understand how that business, or how the distribution of albums works, etc. So why don't you call that your third division? And then you can specialize your strategies according to those 3 areas. They talked to me about business diversification. When you stand on 3 different feet on different areas, when one of them fails, you can lean on the other 2 and survive the ups and downs of the industry. And that has been a saving in retrospect, especially now after during the pandemic, when 2 of our legs failed and we had to lean on a single one, but we did not disappear. And that, I always think back of that time, of that meeting. It was a single day, or I think it was 2 meetings, that really impacted the future of this organization. The story of the growth of our ensemble was really just looking for expanding our radius. We began in Pilsen, and we started playing, in the 5-county area around Chicago. But of course, once you've been presented by an organization once, people take some time before they want to present you again. So we had to look for other presenters in the Midwest where we could find new, fresh markets, especially once we decided to make a living from this exclusively. We had to produce a minimum of amount of work and presentations to sustain the livelihood for the 6 musicians that we had to support. So we sought out different presenters. At one point, we got a national agent based out of New Jersey that started booking us around the country. He told us that we needed to develop marketing materials, a website, various things that helped us reach further markets. And we also strengthened our board of directors. That was another thing, that nonprofit organizations have a volunteer board of directors of people who are have some level of expertise in legal matters or business matters, and they help us. Just like those gentlemen at the Small Business Association,
Right.
they gave us some advice. They looked at our operations. They recommended certain things, and that is very valuable information and advice that we get from this group. And we're always looking for people to join our board. Right now, specifically, we are searching for some people in the business community or in professional practice or retired folks who enjoy what we do and would like to put their expertise to use in our organization. And we have a process, and I'm happy to talk to. I'm always looking for people, talented individuals, to form part of our team.
Well, there you go. That's a great opportunity. That's we're going to put some your contact there, so people who are listening and watching maybe can reach out. And yeah, I think that would be a wonderful opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's fascinating, the trajectory of you guys, and I know personally Victor and you guys are very humble, because you don't talk much about all that you have accomplished in terms of, like, for example, Sones de Mexico has been the winner of the Best Latin Entertainer in the Chicago Music Award for 4 consecutive years, and you guys have been nominated for Grammy Awards, and so there's a lot there that I know you don't brag much about, but I love bragging about because we're very proud of you guys and the work you do. Just like you said, you have endured economic crisis, generational changes, pandemics. It's beyond incredible what you have done. What are your plans for 2022? What do you guys have on schedule?
For 2022, we were hoping that this would be the end. That this would be the end of the pandemic. That we could start operating normally again. It doesn't look like it's going to be that way. Still, unfortunately, the presenters are still very shy about committing to concert series. Not everyone's quite out of the bag. So far, I mean, and we are now in January of 2022, at the beginning of the year. It's not looking very active in terms of performance. But we have other areas, as I discussed before, that we can do, that we have more power to do something about it. So one of them, as I mentioned before, was the education area, and that is one that has run almost uninterruptedly throughout the pandemic. In the year of 2015, right after our 20th anniversary, we launched into creating a music school that was different from outreach to the schools. This was a tuition-based program where we would teach instruments. We started with the guitar, and we built a curriculum, and children from mostly Latino or Mexican families could bring their kids and not only get trained in music performance, but also learn about the history and the geography of Mexico and a little bit about their own family history. So this program has been very successful. We have pretty much reached capacity at this point with our current administration, which is very, very small. So we have somewhere between 50 and 70 students, and we really can't handle any more right now. So one of our plans for 2022 is to begin to expand our capacity through technology, possibly a new hire for an education director that would help us handle having more sites where we can teach, expanding our program, our offerings of different instruments, etc. So that is going to be one of the focus areas of this year. We also have the area of media that I discussed before. Back in 2002, that media consisted of CDs or albums that we put out. But since then, the media has exploded. You know, in 2004, YouTube came into the scene,
Right.
and people were able to distribute content, video content through the internet. Napster, which was a sharing of music, eventually evolved into services that were more legitimate, such as the Spotify, Pandora, streaming services, Apple Music, Amazon Music, etc. Now that is the distribution logistics for that world are completely different. We receive a very small fraction for each play, but the idea is to be played more and more, and all of a sudden people don't have to go to the record store to pick up our album or order it from a service, but they can actually stream it anywhere in the world. So our market potentially it involves the entire world. So and another thing we started doing is filming our concerts. And we have an archive of several concerts that haven't been released. And one of the areas that I wanted to focus on this year was to finish editing these wonderful live concerts and putting them out there in some form that can promote our organization, that promote our mission, promote Mexican music, an appreciation of the wealth and diversity of music that Mexico has to offer beyond mariachi and banda and the pop music from Mexico that gets most of the airtime on radio and television. So that is also another area. So it looks like, at least from my perspective right now in January, that a lot of planning and in desk production is going to be taking place. Possibly we may do like a concert series later in the year, where we can have an opportunity to see our audiences face to face. But right now it looks like we're still hunkering down, and trying to fulfill our mission that way.
Well, you're certainly doing an awesome job on doing that, Juan. I commend you again for doing what you do. You guys are the greatest ambassadors that Mexico could ask for. Really, I'm saying this from the heart, and I know that UNAM Chicago is going to be working with you in some capacity. We'll always think about something, some travesuras that we can do together. And I really thank you. And it seems to me like you have a pretty filled up busy life, so that's wonderful. Please say hi to everybody at Sones, Victor, and everyone, and thank you for being in the program.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
And to everyone, this has been another edition of Café Expresso. My name is Alberto Foncerrada. I am your host. Café Expresso is a program of UNAM Chicago in alliance with Spanish Public Radio. Until next time.